Welcome to 843 TV. I'm your host, Lisa Richardson.
And I'm Catherine Maedeman.
And today we're coming to you from the Osprey Village, Thrift on Main.
And today we're going to actually sit down and speak to Julie Coons, who's the Director of Operations, and Channing Heiss, who's the Director of Communications.
Also, we'll be hearing from Mike Duncan, who's the manager of the thrift shop here on Main, as well as out in Okatee.
So stick around for 843 TV,
where communities come to speak.
.843 TV, where the Low Country comes to speak.
.843 TV,
where communities come to speak. Welcome to 843 TV. We are here at the Osprey Village Thrift Shop on Main Street, and here to share all about so many wonderful things about what they do is Miss Julie Coons. She's the Director of Operations. Thanks for having us today. We'd love to be back at the thrift shop and see all the cool things you've got going on here.
Thanks for coming. Make sure you shop afterwards.
We do. I did last time for
I know you did.
For those who are not aware of all that Osprey does, as far as the housing project, let's talk about who it services and what the big project is that you all are working on.
Okay, so Osprey Village, as far as our housing project, was actually developed as a means to address a major housing crisis for adults with developmental disabilities, autism, Down syndrome, and there's several other ones. In the state of South Carolina, there's about 5,000 individuals who've stepped forward and said, hey, I live with a caregiver who's 70 years of age and older and I don't have a place to go. Mm-hmm. So we are working on a 25-acre development. Locally, we have about 400 individuals in need of this type of housing, and we're hoping that in our first phase of development, we'll be able to serve at least 75 individuals housed in this development.
That's wonderful. Where is it located?
We are located on 170, just across the street from Oldfield. We're a part of that larger East Argent development.
So when do you think you'll be breaking ground?
Hopefully. In January. We're waiting right now. The larger developer is putting in the main roads and infrastructure. Mm-hmm. They're hoping to get that process done by the fall, at least back to where our site is, and between the fall and January we'd be able to start getting into our land.
Well, that's exciting, because one question for you is, along with this journey, fundraising, you have to build the capital for this.
Of course.
How are we doing on that project?
We have many irons in the fire financially. One of the things that we have going on right now to fund our general operations, we have to keep ourselves afloat, is a fundraiser that we have coming up on May 18th. It is a cruise. It's our first cruise. We're very excited about this. It's the Salty Dog Cruise. It's going to be from 6:30 to 8:30. Cocktails, some light hors d'oeuvres. And we do have information available on our website to purchase tickets, as well as raffle tickets to a whiskey tasting in Nashville, Tennessee. So it's a weekend excursion.
Oh, that's very fun.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Well, now, besides the housing development, which is a huge project you're working on, what are some of the other services that you provide to your clients?
So all of the services that we provide have one major title, and that's independent living. Our goal is to help all of the people that we're servicing learn to live as independently as possible. Whether they're staying at home with their primary caregiver, mom and dad, or they move into independent housing, they need to learn things like doing laundry, how do I get transportation, cooking meals, budgets. And we're very hands-on in doing that. We have people working both in the home as well as in the community with these individuals. Reebok CrossFit is actually right over here behind us, and they do 3 days a week of CrossFit classes with our individuals as well.
So they can learn physical fitness too.
Absolutely, it's important.
Lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because lifestyle is a big central theme of what we're doing. That's really the crux of the whole thing. The housing is part of it, the life skill training is part of it, but it's all about building a 360-degree multi-dimensional lifestyle, because that's what we all want. There's a universality to this that I want everyone to understand, because it's really about all of us.
And I think that well. He put that so well.
I did really well, and I think you want, for that person, you want them to have as much independence they can have. Exactly. And you want to give them all the skills that we can do for them. So how young does this program start? What's the age for the youngest?
Right now we're taking 21 years of age and older.
Okay.
We don't actually have anybody that age. Most of the individuals that we're working with are between 30s and 50s. And like Jane said, it is really about lifestyle. It's not just about the housing, because great, you build it, and then what?
Right.
You know, you can
How do
put
you
a
budget? How do you
right,
take care of yourself
right.
in the home?
and helping them to shape their individual lifestyle. So it's not just institutionalized, hey, we're going to give you this bulk lifestyle and spoon feed it to you. It's what do you want out of life and what's important to you. It's really, really important to us.
So the day in the life, what kind of services are we teaching or offering to the participants?
A day in the life. Oh, I wish we had one of our program staff here, because they'd say running from one end of Beaufort County to the other. To be honest with you, that's a lot of it. Transportation is a huge problem for our individuals right now. We have been teaching them how to use Uber. That was funded through a grant from the Community Foundation of the Low Country, which was so cool. We work with them on literally hands-on things like doing the laundry, going to the grocery store. Hey, mom and dad, you're not doing it anymore for them. They're going to do it for themselves as best as they can. Dating boundaries. I mean, these guys want to date too.
Sure.
You know, talking with them about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. We're working on a women's reproductive health care education series, which is actually the first of its kind. And that was funded through Women in Philanthropy. They were big backers for that, to do that. So really it depends on, we look at it and say, okay, we're middle-aged people and we do this in our life, so how does that apply to these individuals? And we try to figure out how we can shape and mold that with them.
All of these services that you're providing for your clients are actually got to be a big relief for the caregivers themselves.
Absolutely, they are. I mean, you have to imagine that a lot of our caregivers are in their 70s, they're widows, and they're taking on immense amount of responsibility, having a special needs adult child who wants to have a life, so they're running them all over creation, and they're dealing with age-related disabilities themselves. So,
You know, I think that's great. We're going to pick up on that conversation when we get back. This is 843. Welcome back to 843 TV. We're here at Osprey Village, and we now going to speak with Channing Heiss, who's the Director of Communication. Before we went to break, we talked about the parents of the adults and who are having disabilities. What kind of community do they have for themselves?
Well, it was actually very organic how this all started. This was literally back in 2007. It started around kitchen tables. You know, people who related to each other because they were going through similar situations, you know, and their disabled adults were going through similar situations. So they realized that there were these needs that unfortunately weren't being met by the current system, and they decided to get together like grassroots Americans and do something about it. And here we are. It's amazing how this thing has grown.
And how many years in the making?
Well, like I say, it was conceived in 2007. We were incorporated in 2008. So this is really about that 12th year that we've been at this.
Wow, that's great.
So I think educating our community more about the services you provide, the way you help is very important, because there are a lot of people who really don't know, or they think it doesn't affect me. I don't have a family member or friend, so you know, why should I care? Why should I be involved? What's one of the things that you want our community most to know about the people that you serve?
Well, that in so many ways, they're like everybody else. I think it's important to emphasize that human universality that we all share. We're all part of this community, and people ask me, well, what do these folks want? Well, what do you want? I mean, very often the answer is going to be the same. You want independence, you want freedom, you want choice, you want happiness, you want a multidimensional life. That's exactly what the people of Osprey Village want, and that's what we're trying to provide.
Well, the experience for the residents, we want them to be in the workforce. Are they
Where they can, yes. I mean,
and do you find some spots that are available for them?
absolutely. There have been some stores and chains in our area that have been very open about hiring adults with developmental disabilities. We do have some of our people who are working on a very regular basis and doing very well. And it's about, the job placement is interesting. The job training is interesting, because what we try to do is we say, okay, what kind of a job would you like? What kind of a job would you be good at? And what is their need? And try to put the need together with what that person's good at doing and what they enjoy doing. And everybody wins.
Yeah, well, and it's a diverse mix, keep that in mind. We have individuals that we work with who have graphic design degrees and people who are interested in working in a grocery store. So there's a broad range and diversity there.
Yes, and to fit the right spot for them
Right.
as well.
Right.
you
The
know,
right job for the right
placements.
person. Yeah.
There's only so many of you and so much you can do. So clearly you probably need a lot of help, a lot of volunteers. What are some ways folks can get involved with just helping out if they really want to support the cause?
Right now we're working to increase our board's capacity. We're always looking for people who want to get involved with our fundraising committees. We have several other committees, our finance committee that we work on. We need volunteers in our thrift shops, both of them. And I would like our thrift shop manager to talk more about that. But there's a million different ways that people can help, and I think the best way to find out what would be a good fit for any person is to call us and find out.
So Channing, can you give us an example of the experience what the resident for Osprey Village would be for the long term when we get this building built, when we have the residents in place? Can you give us an idea what the life in the day or how they're going to be?
Well, it's a very encouraging scenario. I mean, I envision something that is very, very possible and very, very attainable, where someone, and look, it's a diverse group. There are some people who are going to be good at one thing and not so good at another. There are going to be people who have skills that other people don't have. But the idea behind all of it is to get everybody the opportunity to be the best version of themselves, whatever that is. You know, somebody will make a contribution in one way, another person will make a contribution in another way. But it's about being a 360-degree full human being out there in the community, living the life of freedom and choice and opportunity that everyone deserves.
Is there a process that one has to go through to be a recipient of the housing?
That is still being worked out. At the end of the day, these are people renting properties, just like you and I might rent a property. So there's a first come, first served basis to that, as well as a rental application and deposits and things like that. But there's a little bit more complexity to that because there's also medical services that come into play. So that part we still need to work on.
Well, also the staffing. Tell us a little bit about, you need a lot of support staff. Is it a lot of volunteers? Is it a paid position for, you know, somebody who works with the community?
Well, that's going to be a mix, and it really is going to depend on the type of service that an individual needs. Keep in mind that we won't be the only providers within that community. The individual is allowed to choose whomever provides the service that they'd like. So if there's another home health care company out there that provides the service, they can choose them as well. We hope to have volunteers. We'll definitely have to have paid staff.
Of course. And so for those who want to donate to help out, what's the best way? What can they do?
They can get on our website. We do have a donation link that you can get a hold of. We are doing our fundraisers. Anybody who wants to get involved with them, they're always a good time. So it's a good way to spend the money, and it gives to a great cause. And shop, shop, shop.
Of course, right.
Right.
Right. So if you haven't come down to the thrift shop on Main Street, I encourage you to do that. There's a lot of great things, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that in our next segment. So stay right here for more 843 TV. Welcome back to 843 TV. We are here at the thrift store on Main Street with Osprey Village, and Mike Duncan is managing this place and going to share a little bit more about it. But you also have a shop in Okatee. Tell us a little bit about that one.
That's correct. We've had that store open for 8 years now. Our Main Street location's been here for 2 years. We just had our 2-year anniversary in March, and we're excited to have this store turning around like it's doing.
Are you managing both stores?
I oversee both stores. I schedule all the pickups and deliveries and kind of order supplies for them and do that, but I don't actually manage that store. We have a manager, Carmela, who does a wonderful job out there.
So your role is very diverse, handling the two stores. Tell us about some things that you might need, your staff. What are some things that
We're
are
always
important?
looking for volunteers. This is, as you can look around, it's a 14,000 square foot store, and it takes a lot to keep this going. So we have a wonderful group of volunteers that come in and help us, and they just do a fantastic job setting things up, and it's a challenge to keep this going.
Well, quick question, what are your hours?
We're open from Tuesday through Friday from 10 to 4.
Okay.
And then Saturday from 9 to 1.
At both locations?
Well, the other store's open till 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And they're
Okay.
open on Mondays also. We're closed here on Mondays.
Okay.
You're in the prime real estate zone here, by the way, on Main Street, which is, they're located right across from Harris Teeter, sort of, so everyone knows where that is. So you're easy to find.
Right. Very easy to find. We have been very blessed with donations. As you can look around, all these items in here have come from individuals on Hilton Head, and it's just wonderful, the stuff we get in here. It's a lot of fun to go through these boxes back there and pull out things. And,
It's like a treasure chest,
yeah,
I
it
think.
is. It's like-
You know, it's funny, when I walked into the store, I looked around and I thought, my, you can furnish a house here.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
right.
You sure can.
Yeah, we always talk about people moving to the area, and like college kids coming down here, you could probably furnish your whole house for less than you could rent the truck for to move their stuff down here. In our
Well, that's
stores.
a good tidbit to know, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, so what is some of the hot pieces of items that people like to buy? What are they looking for?
We sell a lot of clothes. We sell a lot of clothes, and people just come in. We get brand new clothes donated, tags still hanging on them. So
Those are the things I like to find. Those are great.
right, everybody likes to find. And furniture. I mean, we get a lot of things. Household oddities, just little housewares, and home decor stuff. It's a little bit of everything.
So there's a lot really that goes on behind the scenes to all that you do. So share a little bit about what you might need besides volunteers in the thrift store, donations. What are some other things that you really find are necessary to make this work?
Well, you have to have a lot of organization in this. You have to be able to process things very fast when they come in. You can't have things that come in the back of the store and you have to let them sit there. And, it takes us, so we've got it really organized to where we can, as soon as we get things in, we process them, we get them out on the floor and try to sell them.
You know, as I'm looking around the room as you were talking, some of the items I think which are important to understand what is actually here. We have lamps, dressers, couches. If you like this couch, this is available. There's a whole equipment over there with the
Electronics,
flotation devices, and so if you're-
kitchenwares. We have a lot
kitchenware.
of stuff.
So let's talk about the hours. How many people do you need to man the store?
Well, there's only two employees, myself and another person, and then we have volunteers that come in different times during the day, and you can work as little as you want or as much as you want. So some people come to 3 days a week and work all day. Some just come a couple hours a week, and we're glad to have all of them.
And Mike, this is more to you than just managing an operation, managing a business. Share some things that are important to you in your heart. Why are you involved with this?
Well, my mom grew up in special ed. She worked in special ed in my hometown of Florence, South Carolina, and so I've always had a place in my heart for this kind of thing. And to watch the kids come in here, the young adults come in here, and they work in the store some, and it's just real. It's just a lot of gratification in it. It's very nice.
So on your wish list, what can we offer to help you?
Lots of volunteers.
Okay, well, we're hearing it. That's
Keep
what we
coming
need.
back to that, right?
We need, there's
And
a lot
shoppers,
of people.
and just having people come in and look around, we get a lot of compliments. We get a lot of nice things said about our store on there, and we work real hard to try to keep it from looking so much like a junky thrift store.
Yeah, because you've got it laid up in departments
Right.
and organized in displays and so forth. So you've done a really great job. Channing, share a little bit about what this store means to you and just the mission in general.
Well, I tell you, I learned about this through a friend of mine. We were involved in a project together about, I guess, 7 or 8 years ago. We happened to talk, and he mentioned that he was on this board of Osprey Village, and I got curious. He told me a little bit about what they were trying to accomplish. It sold itself immediately. I didn't say, okay, Jeff, that's a great thing. Call me when you guys are real. I said, when do you want me, and what do you want me to do?
Wow.
It was that quick. Because this makes so much sense. It's about people having the opportunity to be the best that they can be, and to realize not only their own potential, but develop their own personality and go into the fullness of being a three-dimensional human being. And this store, every time you shop here, you're helping someone do that.
Exactly.
You're not only getting great merchandise of every variety you can think of, but you're helping somebody to live their dreams.
I love our conversation today. So one thing we could do to help is, I want to share this information one more time. This is the Full Moon Cocktail Cruise, and it's celebrating the flowering moon, and it's on May 18th from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Salty Dog. Wonderful cruise. This is one way you can support. Buy tickets. There's information. How else can they get the information?
Well, you can call me at the number on your screen.
Okay.
You can call Ellen Musgrove, who is the coordinator of this event, and her number, I believe, is going to be on the screen as well. So for tickets, for that kind of information, for extra information, you can call Ellen, or you can call me, and we'll be happy to help you out.
Well, terrific. Who wouldn't want to do this? This is so great.
Sounds like a great time. So Channing and Mike, thank you for sharing, and we thank Julie for sharing with us as well earlier, and we thank you all for watching this episode of 843 TV,
Where the community comes to speak.